Grand Rising, everyone. Grand Rising, happy Motivational Monday. So happy to see everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing good.
Morning.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising,
Morning.
Grand Rising.
Greetings.
I see
Good
Dr.
morning.
Wanda, Erica. Hi, everybody.
Good morning. Blessed morning, everyone.
Hello. Good morning.
Grand Rising.
I'm going to wait till we get to 70 people and we're going to start. Well, I just wanted to do this Motivational Monday to help everyone prepare for a prosperous week, not just a week, but just a prosperous life overall. If you obviously follow me or you know my journey, if you know my story, you know that I'm vegan, right? I'm plant-based. But a lot of people don't realize that I actually became plant-based not just because I wanted to save the environment and I wanted to help animals, which that is a great benefit, but that wasn't the reason. That wasn't my motivation for becoming vegan, right? So my motivation for becoming vegan literally was because I said, I was at a low point in my life, depressed, with 3 children, 1 newborn, living on my mother-in-law's couch, basically. My husband was incarcerated. Everybody was just looking at me like, you got to get your life together. You got to do something. And I knew that there was more to my life than what everybody wanted me to do. So I spent a lot of time in meditation. I spent a lot of time detoxing my body. I spent a lot of time just removing toxic waste, not just from my body, but my mind and my spirit as well. And I spent 90 days, literally 90 days detoxing. I spent 90 days removing toxic people from my life, etc. And the reason why I did that is because I said, you know what, number one, I want to be financially stable. And I'm not saying financially stable where I just have enough to pay my bills. I'm talking about building generational wealth, right? A lot of people say health is wealth, but they be, unwealthy, let me put it that way. They don't have the wealth. And if we're doing all this hard work, if we're doing this hard work to make sure our body is cleansed, if we're doing this hard work to remove toxic people from our lives, set boundaries, we deserve wealth. A lot of people in the health community, they're living in poverty. A lot of people that's living a stable life financially, I find that they are mentally and spiritually drained, or they have a very toxic life. That's why we see a lot of people that's rich that commit suicide, because they're ultimately not happy. And money, okay, money does not bring you happiness, and that's one thing I realized in 2020. So with that being said, I personally use manifestation, I use veganism, and I use spiritual and mental removal of waste to help me manifest. Going from that point 3 years ago where I had nothing to a point where today that I manifest over $250,000 a month. And again, it's not about the money, but it's about freedom. Okay, it's about having means to be able to help my children do whatever they want to do, to take them out of the public school system. Okay, take them out of Medicaid and out of a lot of government assisting programs so that I can ultimately control their life. A lot of people ask me, how can I have a lifestyle where I want to be vegan and avoid vaccinations, avoid certain things that seem like is unavoidable? Well, it's about being financially stable. Okay, because one thing I realized is I don't have to depend on the government for anything. And that's the same thing I want for my entire Surviving Vegan family. We deserve to be financially stable. We deserve to have a life that we want. If you can see it in your mind, if you can visualize it, then that means it's already done in the spiritual realm, and you should be able to attract that in your life. But how can we attract the things that we want when we feel of junk? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the only way that you attract it, but I do everything holistically, mind, body, and spirit. We've been trained to go to the doctor for our body, to go to the psychologist for our mind, and to go to church for our spirit. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what we make a mistake at is that we don't see how all of these things are related to each other. How can you eat better if you have a junk mind and you feel horribly? Okay, the things that you think, the things that you say, the way that you feel influences what you put directly into your body. And if you don't believe that, just look at all the people that have been diagnosed with illnesses. Look at all the people that's going through chemotherapy, that's going through radiation, that's going through a lot of chronic illnesses, and they still eat a lifestyle that leads to death. There is no in between, family. It's either you're doing things that bring you closer to health, or you're doing things that bring you closer to sickness. There's no, I'm a little healthy today, but tomorrow I'm sick. No, there's no in between. That's the same thing when it comes to your mental and spiritual health. That's the same thing when it comes to your manifestation. You got to constantly be purging your body, okay, purging your mind and purging your environment. That's one thing. If you ever get the opportunity to meet me and be around me and work together, you will find that's one thing I do not play about. I do not play about my environment. I don't play about my spirit, and I don't play about my energy, because this is what I use in order to manifest my reality. This is what I use to manifest finances. This is what I use to manifest health. So I have absolutely no tolerance for people that are not healing. I don't allow them into my inner circle. And that's what I would want for all of you as well. So today, our topic for today is decrease stress and increase faith. Okay, that's our, trying to let everybody in the room. That is our topic for today. Eliminate stress and increase faith. Remove stress and increase faith. A lot of us are stressed out about things. How are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to live the lifestyle we want? Are we going to get the job? Are we going to have enough to feed the babies? Are we going to have enough? You are thinking entirely too small. You are thinking entirely too small. You have to believe that everything you touch turns to gold. That is the soundtrack of my life. I don't allow any person, place, or thing to come into my spirit and change my way of thinking. You are the author of your path. We have things that are influencing us, such as our environment, such as other things that we cannot control. But one thing that you can control is your mindset. And they spend billions of dollars through music, through commercials, through movies, and through other means to help keep your mind in a traumatic state. That is what happens when you watch the news and you see all of these negative stories. You listen to music that is degrading. When you be around people that's gossiper, backbiters, and things like that, you mutate to what they present to you. That's just human nature. So why not surround yourself with things that lift you up? Pay attention to how you speak as well. Girl, I'm dead. Oh, I love you to death. Everything that we're doing, the way we eat, the way we speak, the way we think leads us to sickness. So how can you expect abundance in your life? How can you expect abundance in your life? So our tone and our essence and our topic for today is decrease stress and increase faith. And we're going to talk about how we use that to manifest the things that we want in our lives. But before we get started, if you've ever been any one of my students, you know that we always open a series or a session with meditation, right? So I want us to do a quick meditation. We're actually going to do visualization. A lot of people say, oh, I can't meditate because I can't quiet my mind. I don't know how to just keep my mind still. Well, that's not really how I meditate. I meditate to visualize. Remember, everything that I do is to help myself be financially stable. I'm talking about generational wealth. Not just being able to pay the bills, and being stabilized mentally, physically, and spiritually. So with this meditation, okay, I want you to visualize one thing that you want to see manifest for yourself this week, okay? One thing that you want to see manifest for yourself this week. One thing about manifestations, they have to be attainable, okay? And you have to be specific. So I don't want you to say, I want to manifest $500 million this week, and you have no means to get $500 million, right? You have no way to actually execute on that manifestation. So I want you to manifest things that are attainable for your life, right? So just think about one thing that you would like to see manifest for yourself this week. Okay, once you have that thing, I want you to think about one thing you're willing to release in order to receive that manifestation. Okay, do you need to release negative people? Do you need to release an old way of thinking? Do you need to release something in your diet? Pick one thing that you're willing to release in order for that manifestation to come into fruition. Okay, and now that you have those things in mind, we're going to go into a guided meditation. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do this. Okay, so when you hear the music start to play, I want you to take deep breaths in fully expanding the lungs, okay, on the breath in, and on the breath out, you're going to fully release the air, okay? On that breath in, you're going to be imagining that manifestation and allowing yourself to feel it. So if you say, I want to manifest $500, I want to manifest, releasing someone, I want you to imagine what you will feel like when that manifestation happens, okay? My son's looking. Hold on one second. Sorry, family, the baby just woke up. I gotta handle the baby. One second. Hold on, guys. Princy, come on, Princy. You didn't know I'm a mother of 4, and my baby come first. But on the breath in, I want you to focus on what it is that you want to manifest. And on the breath out, I want you to focus on releasing the one thing that you're willing to release in order to see your manifestations come true, okay? So on the breath in, we're focusing on what is it that we want to manifest. Allow yourself to feel it. How would you feel when you get that $500 check? How would you feel when you get that $10,000 bonus? How would you feel when you release that negative person? I want you to allow yourself to feel those emotions. Make it real for yourself. This is how we retrain the subconscious mind and attract our abundance, right? And then on the breath out, release what it is that you say that you're willing to give up in order to see that manifestation happen for you. Okay, so we're going to do that now. We're going to do that meditation. So you can close your eyes. We're going to do about 2 minutes of meditation, and we're going to get started now, okay? I want to play some music. Here we go.
Do a relaxation exercise.
Good job, family. Good job, family. I want to give you the task of performing that meditation for the rest of the week. That's something that I do daily. I do these type of visualization meditations daily because it's important that we create the life that we want to live, right? That we create the environment that we want to attract. things manifest in the spiritual realm first before we ever experience them in the physical realm. So you have the power to actually send out the vibration that you want to receive. We see people spend time gossiping. We see people spend time doing negative things, and we see negativity and toxicity in their life. But what if we flip that? We spend time speaking the things that we want to see happen. We spend time affirming them. We spend time telling other people about, the greatness and goodness that we receive in our lives. And, we surround ourselves with like-minded people. And then not only that, we do the physical work, okay? We do the physical work of cleansing our mind, cleansing our spirit, cleansing our bodies in order to have room to receive. So again, the topic for today is, okay, decrease stress and increase faith. And I'm not saying to totally eliminate stress from your lifestyle. That would be illogical, okay? But understand what stress is supposed to be used for, okay? So I don't know what you may be going through today, or what you may encounter this week, but I want to help you to understand that anytime you encounter stress, two things are going to happen, okay? You possibly will trigger emotional trauma that you're dealing with, which causes you to respond to that stress in a negative way. Okay, maybe you're going to be met with conflict with a person, so you get into an argument. Okay, maybe you're met with conflict and it sends you into depression, or maybe you're met with conflict and then you respond in an irritable way. Okay, maybe you're met with conflict and you totally isolate yourself and you retreat and you don't express the feelings by setting healthy boundaries if that's what you need to do. Stress is just a sign that something toxic is going on, and there's something that needs to be eliminated from our lives. So one or two things are going to happen. You're going to be triggered, and then you're going to cause a flight and fight response in the body, which leads to adrenal stress in the body. The adrenal glands are two glands that sit on top of the kidneys, okay? They're responsible for our fight and flight response. You have two responses to conflict. Either you're going to fight it out, or you're going to leave, or you're going to flight, okay? Or you're going to move away from it. So anytime we overuse the adrenal glands, it leads to illness. A lot of times people don't realize you can eat as good as you want to eat, okay? You can be alkaline vegan, you can be raw vegan, you can eat salads all day, you can drink as many herbs as you want to, okay? But one thing we have to realize is, remember, it's mind, body, and spirit. You can't be healthy in the body and sick in the mind. That's impossible. Okay, you can't be healthy in the body and sick in the mind. It doesn't work that way. Everyone, put your mics on mute, please. Please make sure your mic is on mute, please. You can't be healthy in the body and sick in the mind. Okay, you have to make sure that you are thinking ways that attracts abundance. First of all, if you are stressed out about how you're going to make your next bill payment, if you're stressed out about how your children are going to succeed, if you haven't planned the next 100 years of your life, you have no time to waste. Let me say it again, okay? If you don't understand how to bring financial abundance to you instead of chasing it, if you're on a job right now that you don't like and you're only going for a paycheck, you have no time to waste. You need to be spending every second of your life. And they be like, she too deep and ain't even that serious. You need to be spending every second of your life focused on cleansing my mind, body, and spirit. And why don't I have the life I deserve? Number one, our ancestors worked too hard for us to have some form of liberation, for you to still be in a poverty mindset and doing things that no longer serve you, only doing it as a paycheck. You a slave to your job, or being around people because I love them, but they're hurting you, right? You're a slave to their toxic ways. You have no room, and please take that seriously. You have no room to play. You have no room to not always be focused on yourself, because number one, especially if you have children, what are you going to leave them? What are you setting them up for? Okay? If you don't heal yourself, you're going to indirectly pass trauma onto your children. You're going to indirectly pass trauma onto the people that you love. Okay? Because you're not healed, you're not whole, you're going to respond to conflict in a toxic manner. So everything that's in our life should come from a holistic standpoint: mind, body, and spirit. My mind, body, and spirit has to be whole. And if it's not whole, I got to figure out what to do. Okay, Arisha, I hear what you're saying, but how do I do that? Number one, you need to continuously assess your body. I speak a lot about cravings on Instagram, on Facebook, etc. And of course, if you join the Surviving Vegan Academy, which launches in a few weeks, if you join the Surviving Vegan Academy, we're going to dive into it. But just to give you a light overview, okay, your cravings are a sure sign of what you're going through. Okay, if you're craving a lot of bready foods, even if you don't eat them, and especially if you eat them, you're dealing with a lot of emotional stress. So you need to look in your life and figure out which traumas, okay, you're associated with or you're dealing with. When I say trauma, I'm not talking about an emergency. I mean, are you dealing with people that are not healing themselves, that are lashing out? When they're angry, they can't even take, conflict, or they can't respond to a criticism in a neutral manner. So you're always getting into arguments, okay? You're dealing with people who are indirectly passing their trauma to you because of whatever they've been through. And then you become triggered because you're not healing your childhood. We have no time to waste, family. It's always about shedding toxicity in your life, no matter what that looks like. And it's not always easy, but the first thing you want to do is look at your cravings to get a hint at what you're dealing with. Okay, so bready foods, emotional stress, physical stress. Okay, look into your life and see what you have in your environment that may be triggering you and figure out how we're going to release it. We're going to talk about that in a second. Secondly, if you're addicted to crunchy foods, you're eating a lot of potato chips, okay, you're eating peanuts. Even if you're vegan, you're not eating junk food, but you notice I always want peanuts, okay? I always crave peanuts. I always crave anything that's crunchy, fried chicken, things of that nature. You're dealing with a lot of emotional stress as well, because the actual act of biting down on the chicken releases physical tension. If you're addicted to sweets, you can't let go of the sweets no matter what. You've been saying, I'm gonna let it go for weeks now, but you're still eating it, okay? You're dealing with self-esteem issues, okay? You're dealing with issues of being able to give and receive love. So we got a lot of healing to be doing, because to my knowledge, a lot of us can't even control our diet. How are we going to control our manifestations and be able to attract things to us that we really need and desire, right? If you're eating a lot of salt, a lot of anger, okay? Maybe you were, sexually abused, emotionally and physically abused. You'll have a lot of anger. You'll notice that you'll crave salt. Same thing with chewy foods, emotional stress, physical stress in your life. So what are your cravings telling you? Everything you experience, okay? Every symptom you experience is your body trying to speak to you, but are you listening? So based on what your cravings are telling you, that's a hint of some of the things that you're dealing with in your life. Once you say, okay, I recognize these traumas, I acknowledge them, now it's time to release. First thing you need to do is protect your energy. So you need to set boundaries with people so they can understand how to treat you. A lot of people say, teach people how to treat you, but do you understand what that means? You deserve the life that you want to live. And anything that stands in your way, they either can't be in your way, meaning you got to isolate yourself from them, or you got to teach them how to treat you. Okay, so you need to set healthy boundaries. I understand sometimes the person that may be toxic in our lives may be somebody we live with, maybe our manager, but that does not mean that you don't have to set healthy boundaries with them and allow them to treat you and say whatever they want. And you may say, they ain't gonna say whatever they want to me because I'm gonna tell them about themselves. But you're engaging now, you're falling into the trap of stressing yourself out, having that fight and flight response in the body, which leads to sickness. Because if you're always that person, like, I don't care, nobody's not going to tell me what to do. Nobody's not going to come at me sideways. You always getting into conflict, even if you don't say the things out your mouth, but you're getting that response in the body, okay, where you're unstable mentally and spiritually in the body because you're around a lot of conflict. That's overuse of the adrenal glands. And that leads to adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue leads to thyroid problems, leads to cysts, leads to fibroids. See, a lot of people talk about the physical manifestations of fibroids, eating mucus foods, eating dairy foods, but nobody talk about the spiritual manifestations of it. What are we dealing with spiritually that's causing a lot of these sicknesses? Remember when I said at the beginning of this rally is mind, body, and spirit. We don't separate them. How can you eat healthy if you're thinking negatively, okay, and you're having negative emotions and you're harboring them? That's the spiritual way we're manifesting a lot of these sicknesses, okay? Causing that adrenal response in the body, overusing that adrenal response in the body, leading to adrenal fatigue, which leads to thyroid problems, which leads to nervous system problems. So you're dealing with depression, you're dealing with stress, okay? Leads to cysts, leads to fibroids. That's the spiritual way we're manifesting these things, because guess what? When you're stressed out, the first thing you're going to is bread. You're not saying, oh, I'm gonna eat this bread because I'm stressed out, but you're like, oh, it was a long day at work today. They got on my nerves. I got to go out to eat and treat myself. A treat is toxicity. You want to treat yourself to toxicity because you're not doing the work when you come home from work, to purge yourself. When you deal with a toxic person, you're just absorbing that and never releasing it. And you've been doing that since childhood, right? And it just becomes one thing on top of the other, one thing on top of the other. Next thing you know, you're having a nervous breakdown, okay? Or you're out lashing to someone else, lashing out to someone else, okay? So these are the things that we got to be doing. And that's why I say we don't got no time to waste. We don't have any time to waste, because when we waste times, we miss the opportunities to heal. When we miss the opportunities to heal, now we're living in toxicity. We're dealing with people that aren't healing themselves. We're doing things that we don't truly love. We're not living in our purpose, okay? All because we're not focused on self and healing and going through this continuous cycle of assessing and releasing. And then ultimately, we're not living the life we want to live. We have no fulfillment in our life. And then on top of that, we're living in poverty. I don't want anybody that's attached to Surviving Vegan to live in poverty. That's just not what I want, because one thing that I noticed, when you have finances, although money does not, make you happy, when you have finances to pay for things, and you don't have to worry about it, be stressed from paycheck to paycheck, that gives you some type of release. Remember, we're decreasing stress and increasing faith, right? So when you don't have to worry about how the bill's going to get paid, you can focus on something else. And money is the easiest thing to attract to yourself when you make room to receive your abundance, right? When you make room, when you're doing that constant work to heal yourself. And once you heal yourself and you set your boundaries, you should have a no tolerance for toxic people, because in essence, they're going to bring you down or bring you back to a state in your mind that you don't want to be anymore, okay? All right, so I want to teach and help the communities to understand the importance of eating right. It's not only about people tell me, oh, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Well, okay. Most people that say that, they want to eat whatever they want to eat, and they're not living their life in their purpose, and they're not fulfilled. I want you all to be fulfilled. I want you all to have a life that you wake up every day, you're excited to get started. No matter what conflict comes in your life, you understand conflict resolution. You understand how to move yourself forward, okay? And you just laugh at your haters as you go to the bank and cash your check. Seriously, you deserve abundance. Who told you that you don't deserve abundance? Who told you that you have to live a life that is all about struggle and hard work? No. Realize that the melanin that we say, oh, black girl magic and all these things, that same melanin allows you to attract everything to yourself. But that's another discussion for another time. I'll talk about that in Surviving Vegan Academy, okay? But we're going to decrease stress because, number one, it makes us sick. That's why you don't have time for toxic people. Stop giving people chance after chance after chance after chance. Set your boundaries, okay? Let them know. When you're speaking to men, you're going to talk about logic. When you're speaking to women, you speak from an emotional standpoint, because we have two different ways of thinking, okay? And that's the divine balance in the universe. Men are logical and women are more emotional. We feel first and think second. Men think first and feel second. So when you're communicating, you need to leverage that knowledge. Don't come to a man talking about your feelings, because they're not going to be able to hear what you have to say. For example, maybe your husband or your brother or something. Maybe they said something that was out of pocket. Okay, they said something in front of the family that was just not right. And then you go to your brother, and they might not even know it. Let's just assume that they didn't realize that they shouldn't have communicated that way. Let's just say that. And you go to them and you say, baby, I feel like you have no respect for me because of X, Y, Z. He thinking, I have no respect for you. What do you mean? You're the woman I honor. You're the woman that I desire to be with. Of course I respect you. So because of that, he's not even gonna hear what you have to say. He's gonna be stuck on you saying you feel he doesn't respect you when that's not true. That's not his true feelings. So you approach them with logic, right? So you say, baby, talking to your husband that said, things that he shouldn't have said in front of other people. Baby, I'm coming to you and I want to have a talk with you. And I'm basically wanting to talk about what happened last Friday at the picnic. You said some things in front of my family that I realized was not the best thing to do. I think that you should have pulled me to the side and you should have had that conversation with me because it really wasn't everybody's business. Okay? Now you say that in a non-toxic way, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you're sticking with logic. A man can relate to that. Put your mics on mute, please. A man can relate to that, right? Versus you coming with your feelings. So he's like, dang, that was right. I didn't even realize that. I apologize. I apologize for that. And you tell them the correct way to deal with you in that manner. Setting healthy boundaries, criticizing people by, letting them understand what you would tolerate and what you won't tolerate. Now, when you approach a woman, don't approach a woman like, with logic. The same way you approach a man. You can approach a woman with your feelings, okay? I feel that it's very disrespectful, Mom, to feed my children things that, I don't want them to eat. It truly hurts me to know that I have my children and when I want them to live a certain lifestyle, no one really truly respects my wishes and I feel. So you're always talking about your feelings, okay? You criticize them with your feelings, right? So that they can relate. Oh, I love you. I love my grandchildren. I never want y'all to feel X, Y, Z. But if you come with her with logic, Mom, cheese leads to death. Okay, cheese leads to death. If you're killing the grandbabies, she's gonna feel like you feel she doesn't love y'all, right? So that creates conflict because we don't understand how to communicate with one another. Okay, now if you try, to come to someone and you have great body language, you're not rolling your neck. Okay, you want to criticize someone, you have great body language, you're very empathetic. Okay, you pull them aside to talk to them, not embarrassing them in front of a crowd of people. You have great body language, you're smiling, okay? And you're literally talking to them in a healthy manner and they snap at you. At that point, you got to realize there's nothing you can do. This is how you save yourself from toxic people because a healthy person should understand that if there's conflict, we have to do conflict resolution. Okay, but if you come to them and you know that you're talking to them in a way that doesn't warrant the way they respond to you, you leave it alone. Don't get into arguments with people. If somebody starts to yell at you, if an argument starts, at that point, you shut down and only answer questions. That's how you avoid going back and forth. So they're yelling, you're not listening to me? You don't hear me? I do hear you. Answer the question. Well, you need to talk to me because I'm talking to you and you're going to listen to me. Don't say anything, right? You are the spiritually and emotionally intelligent one in that conversation. So we have to understand how to speak to others, right? If someone starts to argument with you or starts conflict with you, at that point, you shut down and you only answer questions. And then you realize that there's nothing that you can do to help that person. They're probably on a junk food diet. They probably eat breakfast at Burger King. They probably eat lunch at Wendy's, and they probably eat dinner at KFC, okay? That person doesn't even have access to the minerals that is needed to be a whole person. Because when you eat junk foods and when you eat chemicals, it depletes the body of minerals. In order for you to be, mute your mic, please. The sound went out.
You muted yourself.
Your mic, Arisha.
Unmute yourself.
I see it. I don't know why I mute me. Okay. When you eat toxic foods, when you eat foods that are high in chemicals, you deplete the body of minerals. In order for the body to complete certain functions, it needs the minerals available. So you may be talking to or having to deal with a coworker or a manager or a spouse or a friend that doesn't even have the minerals available to talk and communicate in a certain type of way. Because when you're depleted of B vitamins, when you're depleted of vitamin D, vitamin E, which is stripped by salt, which is stripped by sugar, okay? Which is stripped by synthetic chemicals that are found in foods, such as red dye number 40 and all these other dyes that are in our foods. When you're stripped of that, you're going to experience irritability. You're going to experience depression, because guess what? Deficiencies in vitamin E, deficiencies in vitamin D, deficiencies in B vitamins cause mental illness. So when we understand how all of this goes hand in hand, we're better able to navigate through this maze. And that is one reason it's very important that if you can, please take the Surviving Vegan Academy, because I'm not only going to be just approaching it from a holistic standpoint from food and physical health. We have to talk about the mental and the spiritual health as well, because it all ties in together. You have to understand that you really be dealing with sick people out here. They're dehydrated, okay, which causes irritability, which causes sadness, which causes a rise in the adrenal response in the body. So any little thing that happens, they ready to pop off, right? That's why we have a lot of people, when you drive, they like flipping you off and stuff like that over minor things. They get into whole arguments over traffic jams, right? That is some of the things that I want to be teaching in the Surviving Vegan Academy, how you should look at your life from a holistic lens, mind, body, and spirit. So we're decreasing stress. So we should immobilize any stress in our life, not tell ourselves that we shouldn't feel it, right? Or not think that because we feel stressed that we're not healing anymore. Stress is a normal response to conflict. It's your responsibility to analyze your mind, body, and spirit, your environment, to figure out which conflict is triggering you. And when you figure out which conflict is triggering you, what are you going to do? Are you going to remove that conflict from your life, or are you going to set healthy boundaries with that conflict? And when you set healthy boundaries with people, you have to realize that you got to give them a reward system, and there has to be some, I don't like to use the word punishment, but for lack of better words, I'm going to say punishment for not adhering to your boundaries. You got to teach people how to treat you. If your husband, embarrasses you again in front of people, what is going to be the ramifications of that? Okay, not just let the person keep saying it, you just keep having the same talk. No, you let them know. I appreciate you listening to me. I appreciate you considering what I had to say and my feelings and things of that nature about the situation. If we could continue on this path of uplifting each other and keeping each other in mind when we want to criticize each other and not do it in front of people, I will continue to do X, Y, Z. Okay, but if this happens again, okay, you're going to lose access to me, or whatever your ramification will be. You let the person know, and guess what? If they do it again, listen, I told you at the beginning of this what could possibly happen if we can't respect each other's boundaries. And it got to be that simple. It has to be that simple, because we have no time. We're working on generational wealth. We're working on entrepreneurship. We're working on building things and systems for our family. We don't have time for people that don't want to heal, people that don't respect us, and people that just don't see our worth. You don't have time for it. Why? Are you where you want to be? Are you living your purpose? Do you feel fulfilled every single day when you wake up? If your answer is no to that question, or your answer is not really, you don't have any time. You got a lot of work to do for cleansing your mind, cleansing your spirit, and cleansing your body. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is look at our diet, let our cravings be a hint to some of the things that we need to release. Once you look at your cravings, you go through your release process. You do your meditations, you do your spiritual baths, you do your fire letters, right? You do all these things to release. Because ultimately, what is the thing that you said you want to manifest this week? What is the top 3 things that you want to manifest for your life or for 2021? You need to remove waste to make room for that abundance. So you have to remember that going into this week. I want you all to stay laser focused on what you said you want to manifest and what you want to release. You have to worry about you and your children if you have some, and your spouse if you have one. Your unit needs to get stronger so that everybody can understand that we eat healthy, not only because it's good for our bodies, because I want to manifest as well. And I want to make room for the things that I want to attract. Okay? So we're going to do right by ourselves. We're going to treat our body as the temple, not trash it, okay? And say, I deserve this, right? We're going to treat the people around us a certain way, uplift each other, look at each other and express gratitude, you know, to our family and to our children. Help them gain the emotional intelligence. Help them understand their cravings, right? You can do that for yourself and for your family. One thing I believe is, if I can do it, you can do it as well. If I can go, you know, just 5 years ago from being in a psychiatric ward, from writing my suicide letter, for being at my lowest low, you know, my car getting repossessed, everybody looking at me like, oh, she don't got her life together, but she keep having babies. Oh, she's still with him. He going back and forth to the prison system, not realizing the internal work I was doing, right? Not realizing that that was just one point in my journey. The same is for you. I don't know what you may be dealing with today. I don't know what stresses you may be dealing with, but I am going to say that it's not your final destination, okay? Decrease the stress in your life, immobilize the stress in your life, immobilize the things that are making you sick, okay? Draw that line on a sheet of paper, and if it comes to that, write toxic on one side and write non-toxic on the other side. List everything that is toxic in your life. Okay, list everything that's not toxic. Spend more time doing the things that are not toxic, and then figure out what you're going to do with the toxicity that's in your life. If it's a person, do they deserve to be in your life? Do you need to set boundaries with them? Okay. If it's a food, can you heal yourself spiritually and mentally so that you can, over time, you know, reduce that addiction to that food? I know I'm pretty radical on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, but you know, when you guys get the chance to work with me in the Surviving Vegan Academy for the first week and a half, we're gonna be dealing solely on spirit, solely on releasing that sexual trauma that you experience, that emotional trauma that you experience, that physical abuse, okay, that self-esteem issues, okay, that depression. We're gonna deal with that for like the first week. Because before I can get you to even love yourself enough to eat things that are going to feed your body and build up your body, we got to deal with the trauma that makes you deprived of self-love. It would be backwards to tell you, stop eating all that chicken, stop eating all those honey buns, stop eating this, stop eating that, when you're emotionally and chemically addicted to them, right? So we got to deal with those spiritual traumas and those emotional traumas first. Okay, we have to. That is the secret, actually, to getting over your cravings, dealing with the emotional trauma, so that you have enough self-love to feed yourself things that lead to health. A lot of people don't love themselves, and you can look right in their diet and see it. Or they're dealing with some type of emotional or spiritual trauma. You can look right at their diet, and it will tell you. So what is your diet saying about you? Okay? And I know we love ourselves. I know we want to live, because that's human nature. But we experience things through childhood that we just keep holding on to. We keep holding on to toxic people. We keep holding on to toxic environments. Okay, we're holding on to hurt. And guess what? You got to heal, even if the people that hurt you are not sorry. You just going to hold that onto yourself and in your spirit and keep going every day like, oh, they hurt me, they did this. And yes, they did it. And they have to be accountable for that. But you don't have to carry that burden. Okay? So that's what we're going to do the first week of the academy. So come prepared to share, you know, even if you don't want to share in a group setting, you will get specific assignments to do that you need to do on your own time to release. The only thing I ask that you do in the Surviving Vegan Academy is, number one, that you show up, okay? You need to put yourself first. That's the whole idea of the academy. Putting myself first. Nothing else matters in these moments, okay? Put yourself first, put time into healing yourself. And then week 2 and week 3, we're going to talk about food. Then we're going to talk about meal prepping. Then we're going to talk about how to create meal plans for weight loss and weight gain. After we deal with the spirit, so you can understand why you need to be eating this way and understand, you know, where you're moving in your life. And then the next week, we're going to deal with creating remedies for any illness. I know a lot of people write me all the time and they say, what can I take for this? Or what can I take for that? And it's really not that simple. Because if I tell you to take this herb, are you going to stick to a remedy for 30 days? Are you prepared to stick to a remedy for 90 days? Or are you going to be eating cake by the end of the first week? And that's why it's important that we go through this process. And I give you this blueprint. I'm not one of those greedy people that's like, oh, you got to buy it from me. You got to take my product as the magical product. No, I need to teach y'all how to do it for yourself so that you can change yourself and you can change your family and set y'all up for whatever your goals are. Because I got my own babies. I have 4 babies and a husband, and I have to heal us constantly. It's a constant cycle. You don't just wake up one day and you heal from everything. No, this is years. If you're 30 years old and you're just starting on this journey, you have 30 years of trauma to identify and release. It's not going to be done in one weekend. It's not going to be done in 1 year, okay? But continuously assessing, continuously removing, continuously having a no tolerance policy for toxicity is going to set you up and move you along your goals and your purpose and your fulfillment faster than anything else. And again, I'm not speaking and saying this just because it sounds good. This is something that I did for my life. You know, coming from the psychiatric ward in Georgia, suicide notes, literally about to drive my car for the highway. That was my plan. You know, it's coming to a point where I truly love myself, releasing and forgiving myself, okay, for dealing with toxic people, and then releasing all the things that were done to me by sick people. Healing, even though to this day, they ain't even sorry. They like, well, hey, that's what it was, and I'll do it again. But I still had to heal, and I had to move forward so that I can attract what I wanted, right? Now being a person that's emotionally stable, or more emotionally stable than I was before, being a person that's actually an asset to my community, being a person that's an asset to my family, okay? And then most importantly, reducing the stress, because that's what it's about. Decreasing the stress and increasing the faith. Have faith in yourself. So I decreased the stress. I first had faith in myself, saying that I can heal myself, okay? I don't have to tolerate the things that I've been tolerating. I don't have to do that. Who said I had to do that? Right? I have faith in my ability to heal myself. I have faith in my ability to heal my children. If I don't have that ability, then why did God give me the ability to have children? Right? If I wasn't going to be the one that is able to look over their lives, why did God give me the ability to have a family and be a part of a family? And we cannot make certain decisions for ourselves, right? The Most High help those that help themselves, right? So decreasing stress, meaning becoming more financially stable so you don't got to worry about bills and you can actually spend time on your passions and your, fulfilling your purpose. That's the first thing I want for y'all. Because once you, get the income that you need every month, whether it's $5,000, $10,000, and even if you say, I only need $5,000 a month to pay for all my bills, I don't want you to think that small. I want you to soon heal yourself all the way to a point where you say, I deserve $1 million a month, or I deserve $250,000 a month. It's all about what you think you deserve for yourself and then how you execute. That's what I want for everybody first, is to get financial stability so we can stop worrying about the day-to-day stressors, because this is how trauma works. And this is the last thing I want to leave before we end this rally, okay? The last thing I'm going to leave with before we leave this rally. One thing I know about trauma stunts your growth in the sense of you're only going to be focused on right now. Okay, so if you're stressed out, that's a form of trauma. If you're stressed out about bills, you cannot think 5 generations ahead. You're just trying to survive today, right? I'm just trying to make ends meet today. And this is how we get out of that curse of generational poverty and generational illnesses and generational financial lack, by being able to see 5 generations ahead so that we can plan for the future. But when you're traumatized, and this is why they have music that is demeaning, that's talking about killing and raping and all these other things, because it helps you to play those scenarios in your mind. When you go to a movie and you watch a movie that may be a thriller, right? Or a scary movie, or you're watching a drama where they shooting each other and they killing each other and this person is turning against that person. You ever feel that stress that builds up in your body, like, who, turn this way? No, get out of that. You're psychologically putting yourself in that environment subconsciously, right? So they understand the psychology of eating. They understand the psychology of the mind and how you can subconsciously put yourself in certain situations just by watching something on the TV, just by watching things on social media, seeing people getting beat up, and not saying that we shouldn't bring awareness to it, but watching it over and over eventually leads to self-destruction, okay? Because you're chemically putting yourself in those situations and you're analyzing it, okay? And you're imagining it, okay? So we have to be very mindful of those things, right? We have to be very mindful of those things because trauma keeps you stuck, okay? That's why people are like, why we can't move forward as a people? Why the earth can't progress? Because everybody traumatized and everybody eating a whole bunch of chemicals. right? Everybody eating seedless fruit, which has the mineral manganese block, which is in control of empathy. So we got a lot of people that can't even use the mineral manganese and have empathy, okay, for the, basically feeding their nervous system. And we don't understand why the community is the way it is, because of what we're eating and what we're watching and what we're engaging in and what we're tolerating, okay? So we have to understand these things. And again, in the Surviving Vegan Academy, we'll go in depth in these, but I definitely wanted to come live and just give you all some inspiration for the week, just as I'm giving to you. Just you all being here gives to me as well, because it lets me know that you all are listening. There are people out there that want to change. And anybody that has worked with me, of course, I'm not perfect. I'm still healing as well. But one thing, I try my best to always right my wrongs. I'm an open book. When you join the Survive Vegan Academy, you'll have access to me. We'll do live classes together. We'll do workshops. You'll even have access to the online class. You'll have lifetime access to that. But it'll be my last time doing the live class, because I'm building the Survive Vegan Research and Wellness Center. And even if you can't afford to come to the class, you guys are going to get it 80% off. The class is valued at $2,500 because of everything that I teach you. You're literally going to get the blueprint to becoming your own wellness coach for yourself first, for your children, for your family, and then your community, if that's what you desire to do, but specifically for yourself. So I'm giving you my entire blueprint, everything that I know. I'm giving my all this last class because I'm building a Surviving Vegan Research and Wellness Center. And I can't tell y'all everything about it right now. But trust me, when you guys see what we're truly building for the community, you guys are going to love it. And I think that you're going to have a place that you can truly come to that's all about healing and not really, any toxicity. We're really working really hard to build that environment for you all. But you will be able to sign up for the Surviving Vegan Academy on February 26th. The class is valued at $2,500, but you guys will get 80% off for like 3 weeks, and it'll be $500 to join the course starting February 26th. And I can't wait to see all of you. I just ask that you come ready to work. Even if, you're in a relationship, if your husband or your wife is open to doing the course with you, them too. You need to be having family meetings. If you got children, letting them know what you learned, because it's all about moving the family unit. You can't be the strongest one in the family, right? Everybody got to be moving towards success together. That just makes you all more powerful and makes your bond stronger. Okay, so I love you all. I will be sending everyone the replay of this session tomorrow. I know everybody's in a text club, so I'll be texting out the replay of this session that you will have forever. Just like when you join the course, you'll have all of your replays forever. You'll have access to the Academy forever. The Academy schedule, I just see a couple of questions. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions, answer a couple of questions. The Academy schedule, the Academy starts on March 29th, and it's 4 weeks, okay? So you'll have access to the Self-Guided Academy, which is the virtual part of it, but we meet with me live, and this is the last class, I'm teaching live. We meet live about twice a week on Thursdays and Mondays, and sometimes on Sundays. And that's truly depending on how many questions you all have. Maybe you're not getting a certain lesson, or it gets really tricky when we talk about creating remedies for things, like arthritis, or creating remedies for any illness. A lot of people have questions at that time. So I'm flexible and will add more classes, depending on the questions that I get. But generally, we meet on Mondays, Thursdays, and sometimes on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And even if you can't make the live classes, you will get the recording within the next day, 24, 48 hours, okay? I appreciate everybody that has ever worked with me, that's ever given me feedback or done a detox. Just know that every time I try to come back harder and come back, more organized, or come back, just really building a structure. And I really have a team this time, so I am able to give my all. I'm not gonna have to worry about posting on Instagram, dealing with clients and stuff like that. I have a whole team now. So for this course, I'm truly gonna be fully immersed in it and fully able to help you all, just to establish well-being. Again, I'm not that person that wants to be the one that say, I helped you heal, or I healed you. No, first of all, I don't heal anybody. The earth heals people. Herbs and food heal people, not me. And it's just fair that I help everyone, that's willing to learn how to do this for themselves and their family, because it changed my family. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. Maybe one day I should bring some of my family on here to talk about how I was. seriously, maybe I should bring somebody on here to talk about how I was, because it changed my life. You know, truly did. From suicide to where I am today is truly a blessing and an honor, and I'm so thankful. You know, and the last part of the course, we will be talking about manifestation, how to manifest. And then on my personal Instagram, goddess_Arisha, I'm even going to be teaching people how to start a business. That's something that I'm really passionate about, how to really, you know, see the income, you know, take the manifestation and really turn that into income, you know, building multiple streams of income, right? I want to help everybody do everything, because if we don't help each other, who else won't help us? And that's why I work so hard to keep toxic people away from me and toxic foods and things like that. I try my hardest, because, you know, people be going south. They be changing up. I don't want to do that. I really want to help people. I really want to help my community, because it's a beautiful life to live when you feel whole, when you feel stable. Okay, it's a beautiful life to live. So I love you all so much, and I'm sending you all peace, love, and light. Before we leave, I'm going to do this one last affirmation. Okay, just repeat after me and we're going to close. All right. I am connected to the Most High. I am connected to God. I am an endless being, accepting from an unlimited source. I have access to my spiritual gifts. I have access to emotional intelligence. I am abundant. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am an asset. I am healed. Everything I touch turns to gold. Everything I touch turns to gold. Okay, we're going to say that one more time so we can feel that. Everything I touch turns to gold. And you just got to believe that. And that just got to be your mantra for your life. Yes, sometimes we got to heal, and we have these thoughts that are, you know, opposite of that. But say, flee from me. I'm only accepting that everything I touch turns to gold. That's all I'm going to accept. And that's just what I'm going to believe. Just choose to believe it. And then we say, everywhere I go, I'm protected. Everywhere you go, you are protected. Okay? Peace, love, and light, family. Love y'all. And I will send you guys the recording tomorrow. Love y'all.